So hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a tattoo tour, mostly because it's for my own personal records. I am a tattoo apprentice and I have started tattooing myself, so I'm kind of starting to lose track of how many I have, where I have them. And in these upcoming weeks I'm actually planning on doing my first cover-up on myself, my first cover-up in general, and my first tattoo that I'm covering up. So I kind of want just like a reminder of what I have to close off the end of the year. So if that's something that interests you, then keep watching. I want to go in chronological order of when I got each of these tattoos, and I also have a list of how much I paid for them, just because that's something that interests me. So back when I was 20 years old, I got my first tattoo. I wanted my first tattoo to be so meaningful and be so perfect and, all of these things, but I was so lost on the process. It wasn't until my boyfriend at the time booked me a tattoo appointment for me with an artist that he had gotten tattooed by. And we lived in a pretty small town. There were like 2 tattoo shops, and each of them only had 1 or 2 artists in them. So it was like if you didn't like one guy, you went to another. I think this guy's name was Matt or Michael or something. I don't remember what his name was. I don't remember what his shop name was. My first tattoo, it's a quote from Frank Herbert's Dune on my ribs, and I'll throw up a picture. He even said at the end that he was sorry. So that's cool. But I was still like super happy with it. I was so proud of myself. I sat there for 2 hours for him to inflict me with pain and ink, and I was over the moon. I thought I was the coolest person for having this gigantic rib tattoo for my first one, and super sore the whole week after. But at the end, I kind of realized the amount of pride that I felt in myself for having gone through that, and having some piece of artwork on me now forever. It outweighed all of the other trepidation that I had thinking about meaning and placement and design, all that stuff. It was just completely thrown out the window because I was like, I have so much skin, and that was just a piece of it. So it was only a couple months after I got my rib tattoo that I got my second one, which was this bee here. And this is from the Merriam-Webster's Pictorial Dictionary. So it's the first bee pictograph that they printed with the printing press, which I thought was pretty cool. And then not even a few months after that, I got this Luna moth to go with the bee. And I consider these 2 different tattoos because they were done at 2 different times. After that, I got a matching tattoo with my friend, and we both got these traditional roses, and she got hers on her ankle, and I got mine on my neck because I'm a badass. All of these were done by Jacqui. The bee, moth, rose, the next one. He did a lot of my tattoos while I was living over there in North Dakota. It's my first ever memorial tattoo, my first and only so far. It was for a friend of mine that passed away. He took his own life, and so I wanted that to kind of commemorate him. Even though it's not the prettiest tattoo, it still is the closest to my heart, I think. After that, I got another tattoo matching with a different friend, and this was a friend of mine that we had reconnected. We went to middle school together. I was living out in North Dakota and he was living out in Seattle, so I went to go visit him after my life took a shit in 2018. I think it's Jacqui Alberts. I don't remember the name of her studio or her Instagram or anything, but we got these matching little, I'll put a picture up, these matching little liquor bottles, and it was super cool. It was a really fun experience. And then after that, I took a little bit of a break, and I didn't get tattooed until it was either late 2018 or early 2019. I remember it was winter time. I was in a new city. I didn't really know any of the artists that were around, but I booked an appointment with a gentleman solely because we have the same last name. It's a Germanic name, Krukenberg, and my great-grandfather came from Germany, went straight to North Dakota, and then he moved to Montana afterwards. So I had the sneaking suspicion that maybe we were cousins and it would be super funny to get tattooed by my cousin. And the whole time that he tattooed me, we were just joking about being cousins. Anyway, so he did my armband, which I love so much. This is one of my favorite tattoos. I love looking at it every day. Aaron Krukenberg at North Dakota did my floor arm. That's what I call it. This is my bicep. And he also did this mastodon tattoo on my leg, which is another photograph from the Webster's Pictorial Dictionary. And he's recently opened his own studio in Bismarck, North Dakota, with his twin brother. So they're both tattoo artists. So I guess it just runs in the family. So after that, me and my current boyfriend moved to California in March of 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic. So I didn't get tattooed at all for the rest of 2020. And then in 2021, I only got a couple tattoos. One of them was on my leg. It was my Furby tattoo, which I attest to being the tattoo that made me start wanting to be a tattoo apprentice, because I had a not so fun experience there. The design wasn't really what I wanted, and the artist was not very nice to me. I also paid 4 times as much for this tattoo than I paid for any of my other tattoos, and it's just not even in the spot that I want. I wanted to put it on my knee so I could say I have a firm knee. It was going to be a pun, and he wanted to charge me like $800 for that. And I ended up paying almost $500 for the tattoo because I had to leave a $100 deposit. And then after the tattoo was done, he asked for $350 more. So, most expensive tattoo to date, and it's the one that I'm covering up soon, actually. So after that, I decided, you know what, I could do this on my own. I considered myself an artist already. I had been in like galleries and stuff like that, and I painted, and I took a lot of pride in my art. So I thought, you know, I could probably just do this on my own. So I bought a tattoo machine, and I did a bunch of research, and I just like completely pivoted my life around to be a tattoo artist. And I picked up a bunch of extra shifts at work so that I could save up enough money to become a tattoo apprentice, because after all of the research that I had done, tattoo apprenticing was the only way to go if you wanted to succeed. Like if you were trying to teach yourself at home and be a kitchen wizard or something like that, then nobody was going to take you seriously as an artist. You couldn't find work in any shops or anything like that. So I wanted to do it the right way. And so I didn't get a tattoo until my birthday of that year, where I tattooed myself. And it's just a little tiny word on my leg. First ever tattoo I did at all, and it was on myself. And then in January, I got my first apprenticeship, and I didn't tattoo. The biggest rule that they had was do not tattoo at home, so I did not at all until I lost that apprenticeship. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And so I tattooed myself again, and it's not so great because I was kind of cocky. I was like, you know, I already did like a thing on fake skin. I already built a machine, like no big deal. It's just, you know, 4 characters. And I'll touch it up one day, but it has meaning to it. 11/11 make a wish. I make wishes on eyelashes and shooting stars and 11/11. So my wish was that I could make this work after I lost my first apprenticeship. And then after that, I got my axolotls. I always loved the American traditional look with the swallows and like the whole chest being tattooed and stuff. So I wanted something kind of like that but had my own spin to it, so I wanted axolotls instead. And I had a great conversation. The artist that did these, her name is Mara, and she works at Envision Tattoo in Grand Terrace, California, and she was amazing. And then I actually got my next tattoo from her as well, which is this rainbow gulb from Adventure Time on my leg. It was my first color tattoo, and she knocked it out of the park. It was just great. I love this tattoo. And then after that, I had already started tattooing, doing small things on other people, but I wanted to practice black, like shading and stuff like that. So I designed this Black Panther to put on my leg, and it's also an Adventure Time tattoo because it's based off of the character from Adventure Time. He's just called Demon Cat, and he's the one that says I have approximate knowledge of many things, and I also feel like that. So I did that one on myself, and then a couple weeks later I did the one above it, the Renaissance Lady. This is actually a tattoo that's based off of a painting of one of the only female Renaissance artists, Artemisia Gentileschi, and incredible artist. All of her paintings are so cool, and like all of her paintings of women are considered self-portraits. And so yeah, I did this as a practice in shading as well. And then after that, I got the other side of my ribs done by my mentor, my boss, Joseph. And he suggested that we use numbing cream. It was my first time ever using numbing cream. It was the weirdest sensation. We let it numb for about an hour before we started. And when we started, I could not feel a thing, like at all. And it was so strange because I could feel the vibration in my bones, you know, like at my ribs, but I couldn't feel any of the pain. I couldn't feel my skin, I could just feel my bones. And so once it started to wear off and I could feel the pain again, it was like relieving almost. It was like an itch being scratched. But then it started getting more and more and more painful until the end when I was like, oh, thank God we're done. And I designed my sternum piece as well. The top of it is Germanic folk patterns, and then the bottom of it is Native American folk patterns. And we didn't numb that one, and that was a mistake. We really should have, because that most painful right here. And then after that, I did the rainbow unicorn on my leg myself. And that was just for funsies. I wasn't really experimenting with anything. I kind of just wanted a tattoo and I wanted a unicorn. And so I did it. I'm not sure if it counts, but I also tattooed my fingernails. These are temporary. They're going to grow out. You could feel the vibration. There's no pain at all with tattooing your fingernails. You just feel like like the vibration. I don't know. It's just strange. Painless, temporary, looks pretty sick, but I don't know if that counts as a tattoo or not. So yeah, that's all of them. And so it is November of 2022, and I have spent a grand total of $2,550 on tattoos, not including tips. And that's also not including the cost of my own equipment to tattoo myself. So if you're here, thank you. All of my information is in the description. I'm also just really bad at this YouTube stuff. So I don't know when or if there's going to be another video soon, but I mean, if there is, until next time. So bye.